Menokme Kedwinen Got. Spring Sentences 1. Ene Yabwam Get Gaga Ewi Menokmuk. It is in the process of warming up. It will soon be spring. That ene, or just the ne by itself, is kind of in the process, or it's starting to happen. The process of becoming. That's a preverb that can be attached to different verbs. Yabwam Get means it's warm. Yabwam Get. Some folks will drop the Y, they'll just say abwam get. Also, the maget is kind of optional with a lot of VII verbs. You can't just say yabwa or abwa for it's warm. Gaga, soon, gaga. And in some communities, they'll say gega instead of gaga, but gaga, soon. Ewi, the future tense marker, or it's something that will happen or something that's desired to happen. Ewi, menokmuk, be spring or in the spring. The word for spring indicates good earth time. Traditionally, it's a time of celebration. We would have made it through another long, hard winter. It's the time the earth is becoming warmer and we'll start planting our crops. It's our new year, and we'll expand on this in a later sentence, talking about why we call it our new year. And Menokme by itself is just spring, but when you add that K to it, now it's in the spring. Menokme gamoen ewi ne yawak, daemon gizis ni waskonnadoyen. Spring showers will bring May flowers. This is just kind of that play on that famous saying, spring showers will bring May flowers. Menokme, again, is spring, menokme. Gamoen means rain, gamoen. Literally, it's raining, gamoen. Ewi, it will, or it's something that's going to happen in the future. Ne, to be in the process of. Yawak, being. Yawen is the verb for it is. Yawak is just the conjunct form when you have multiple verbs, so it will become. Daemon Gizis is the word for May. Daemon Gizis, literally strawberry moon. Daemon Gizis. And daemon, that word daemon, that day is your heart. And literally a strawberry is a heartberry. If you cut a strawberry in half, it looks like a heart. So we call it daemon, heartberry. But daemon Gizis is May. Daemon Gizis, that's when it's time to pick strawberries. And it kind of depends area to area. Some of the stuff that happens up north a little earlier will actually happen either a little later down here or sometimes even a little earlier because we're a little further away from the traditional homelands up north. Ni waskonnadoyen, those flowers, waskonnadoyen. And that waskonnado is an interesting word, and we'll talk about that later a little bit more. How? Ninma waskonnadoyen e web pescage non. Ninma waskonnadoyen e web pescage non. My flowers are starting to bloom. Ninma indicates mine, ninma. You can also use the verb to own something, say nidabendan, I own it. Waskonnado is a flower, waskonnado. Waskonnadoyen are flowers, plural. Flowers are actually inanimate. It's because they're not part of the main plant. When you're talking about the whole plant, they're actually a section of the plant. A lot of times we'll cut flowers off, and we'll put them in a vase, and they're no longer part of its life force, if you will. But waskonnadoyen, flowers. And that word flower literally is talking about the way the sun shines off the flower. You'll notice a flower will actually grow towards the light. It will even turn towards the light. Web is a preverb, which means to start. Pescage means to bloom, and the non at the end indicates that they are doing the blooming. It's part of that VII, or inanimate intransitive verb form. So pescage, it blooms. Pescage, non, they are blooming. Jigwekya yamget menoshka babon. Restate that. Jigwekyamget menoshka bon. It's thundering. Happy New Year. Jigwe it means thunder. Jigwekya means it's thundering. Jigwekyamget is just another variation of that. It's thundering. That meno indicates good, and then shka is a year. Excuse me, shka is new, like shkutwias, like fresh meat, if you're talking about meat that you just got. Bon is a year, so Happy New Year. Menoshka babon, excuse me, menoshka bon. Happy New Year, menoshka bon. In our traditional way of thinking, our New Year doesn't start on January 1st, like we say. It actually begins at the start of spring. We look at how old a person is based on how many snows old they are. Because the winter was harsh up north, the arrival of spring was a time to celebrate. We have stories about the thunder coming back and how it may try and come back early, but it gets driven back. And those are some of the stories that you may have already heard inside of our winter storytelling period of time in the winter. How? Jigwek b'mosewat. Jigwek b'mosewat. The thunders are walking. This is an old saying that I've heard a lot of speakers use when like you'll hear a storm kind of blow in, and they'll say Jigwek b'mosewat. The thunders are walking. Jigwek are thunders. B'mose is the verb to walk. Wat, they are doing it in the conjunct. And again, it's an old way to say that the thunders are walking. And traditionally, when a storm blows in, we would take a little pinch of sema or tobacco, say a little prayer, and place it down outside. Often on the north side of the tree, we'll just put a little sema down and say, kind of watch over our family, watch over those that we love, and things like that. But Jigwek b'mosewat. The thunders are walking. Mshkwabmesh nui mamganamen minokmuk mina eyoyakewi jitoyaki mdodaugamuk. We gather red willow in the spring to use when building sweat lodges. Mshkwabmesh is a red willow or dogwood. Nui mamganamen, we gather something animate. Mamgana is to gather something animate. Nui mamganamen, we but not you, gather it. Minokmuk in the spring, mina, and eyoyak, we will use, but not you. So we're saying we will do it, but not we all will do it. Just we, but not the person you're talking to. A yoyak, a we jitoyak, and we will build. And some people say wijiton for that verb, and some say jiton for the verb to build. And the n kind of drops off. The same with a yoyak. The verb is actually yon, but the n drops off in the conjunct. It's a yoyak. We jitoyak, and we will build a mdodau gamuk, a sweat lodge. Mdodo means to sweat. Gamuk is a place or location, so it's the place that we sweat. So again, mishkwab meshnui mamganamen minokmuk, mina eyoyaka we jitoyaki mdodau gamguk. Excuse me, mdodau gamuk. Nishnabek wudadak wechkasinyaka we zispak witogewat. Shoda mshkwa kik shoda, would you guess known or shinawish? Potawatomis who live up north will make maple sugar. Here in Oklahoma, the maple trees don't drip. So Nishnabek, that's our original name for ourselves. Nishnabek plural. Wodadak, they that live. Da being the verb to live somewhere. Wechkasinyak in the north, literally the location of cold. Wechkasinyak. Ewi, it will, or will happen in the future. Zispak tolge is to make sugar. Wat, they. Shoda, here. Mshkwakik, Oklahoma, or red earth land. And then cho, wugages known, it doesn't drip. Wujage is the verb to drip. Wujage. And with those VII verbs, you add that es, so it's wugages known. It doesn't drip. O shinawish, the maple tree. So the maple trees don't drip down here because we don't have the right conditions. You have to have, like, it has to be really cold for a long period of time and then kind of a real abrupt warm up. And that's how you get the ideal conditions to make those trees start running. Down here in Oklahoma, there's times where sometimes it's 70 degrees in December, and we may not have a real whole long period of cold. You need those kind of conditions. That's why a lot of times, you see people that are doing maple syrup and they're making sugar. A lot of times it's in like Vermont and New York, or it's in the Great Lakes area. Occasionally you might see a little bit of it in Illinois, but once you get past about Kansas and Missouri, it's really hard to have the right conditions to make that happen. So I hope. Jijakok neapwi giwek mina mukchako we mukchako moat. Ilja enodemen jigwek yak. Ilja kindemen minokmuk. So the cranes will return home and the frog will start croaking, and then you'll hear the thundering. Then you know it's spring. So there's lots of different indicators that we have that the kind of spring has come back and it's arrived. Jijak is a crane. Jijakok are cranes plural. The word literally talks about the sound they make when they screech out. Neap means back, so they're coming back. Giwe is the verb to go home or return, giwe. And then ke, they will do it, so they'll return home. Mina and mukchako, the frog, mukchako mo means that they're croaking or they're talking like a frog. That mo indicates communication. You can add that to like kajo mo, to like a cat, to say the cat's purring, you know, or shishibe mo, quacking, the duck's quacking. You add that mo to shishibe for duck. Ilja, and then nodamen, you will hear jigwekyak, the thundering. Kendan is the verb to know it, so a kendamen, then you'll know minokmuk, it is now spring. Shoda jeshkwe doyak nuim do mukowamen minokmuk gagi shabwamgek minagamoen bagaji. Here we search for morel mushrooms in the spring after it warms up and rains a little bit. Shoda here, jeshkwe doyak, mushroom. This is just a general word for mushroom. The we and the men is the part that means we will do it. The do is to try. Try and find something. Makowa, the verb to find. So nawin do makowa men, we're going to try to find them or him. And then gagish, after yabwam gek, it is warm. That's the conjunct form of warm. Mina and bagaji, a little bit. Gamoan, rain. So after it rains a little bit. So the perfect time to get these morels is, again, it's in the springtime when it started to warm up a little bit and you've had a little bit of rain. A lot of times they'll start zog kiwat, they'll start kind of sprouting up and coming out of the earth. Zog kiwat. I mean, they're really good to zasko kwadan, to fry them. Zasko kwa, fry those morel mushrooms. They're really tasty, fried up. So I hope. Shigagoshuk, Bamadzjuk, Medagwin Danawan Mina, Makowa Wachi, Minokmuk. People like onions and they find them in the spring. Shigagoshuk, onions. Bemadzjuk is a person. Bemadzjuk are people. Medagwindan is the verb to like something. That awan means they do it. They do something to them. Awa would be it. Awan would be to them. So they like them. Medagwindanawa. Mina and Makowawat, they find. This is in the conjunct form. It's called the storytelling mode. Ji, there. Minokmuk, in the springs. They find them there in the spring. Shigagoshuk, Bemadzjuk, Medagwindanawan, Mina, Makowawachi, Minokmuk. Game Minokme Nede Pabmadzemen Eji Kichigamik. Every spring we travel to the ocean. Game, every. This is a pre-noun that can be attached to like seasons, days, times of weather. Game Waben, every morning. Nede Pabmadzemen, we travel. Bamadze, he or she lives. Pabmadze, he or she travels, literally lives about. Eji, over there. Kichigamik, to the ocean or at the ocean. Teke bisa mina nui bidge ilja biskamani biskawagen. It's a cool rain and I'm going to go inside and put on a coat. That teke indicates cool or cold. You see it on other words like tekade, it's cold. Tekeboya, the water is cool or cold. And then that bisa at the end, it often indicates water coming down. Bia or bi inside of a word can often indicate like a liquid. Zig bisa is a downpour. Medwe bisa is the sound of rain, etc. Nui bidge, I'm going to go inside. Ilja, and then. Biskaman, I'm going to put on. That comes from the verb biskan, the verb to put on clothing. A biskawagen, a jacket. Nui gettige danen, zauji zessen, penyek mina tamidoyen. I'm going to plant carrots, potatoes, and tomatoes. Nui, I will, or I want to. Gettige danen, plant them. Zauji zessen is carrots, penyek, potatoes, and then mina and tamidoyen, and tomatoes. And with that one, penyek, the potatoes are actually animate, but the thing that's closest to the verb is what you use when you decide if it's going to be inanimate or animate. So gettiga danen, I'm gonna plant them something inanimate because carrots is the first word. You can use that for all of them. You don't have to change to plant like gettiga na to plant something animate. Weknijaga gettigadman. What are you planting? Gettigadan is to plant something inanimate. So weknijaga gettigadman. What are you planting? Negetgadak. Excuse me. Negetganak. Wabozo wadamijan e ejobuk. A rabbit is eating the cabbage in my garden. Gettigan is a garden. Negetigan would be my garden. Negetaganak would be in my garden. Wabozo, rabbit. Widimijan, he is eating it. Eshobuk, the cabbage. Nada gishkjagai mishkos ganwamguk. I should mow the grass, it's tall. Nijapiwa gishkjaget o gigabe. When is that boy going to mow the grass? So that gishkjage is the verb to mow. Nda means I should or I could. So nda gishkjage mishkos, the grass. Gunwa is the verb to be tall or long. Gunwamguk, it is tall. It is long. Nijapi, when. Wa is the future tense with these conjunct. Will. Gishkjaget, he cut. So that's third person. O gigabe, that boy. Gamadagwin damne egetagayuk. Do you all like to garden? Gamadagwin damne egetagayuk. Madagwin is the verb to like. The G and the M on there is the you all. So gamadagwin dam, do you all? The nay indicates a question, then getagayuk. The yuck indicates you all. So do you all like to garden? Kaskiwin nui takabaudonin ni waskon nadoyin. It is a drought. I'm going to water the flowers. That kaskiwin means a drought. It's kind of like that word gashkana bagwe, which means your throat is dry, you're thirsty. Gashkana bagwe. That kashkiwin is talking about that drought of the earth. Takabaudon is the verb to water something. And so that's it for our spring words. Again, some good spring terminologies that you can kind of think about as springtime arrives. Oh.